Hello, everyone, and welcome to another off-season Big Brother podcast. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and yes, we are still in the off-season, about a little over a month away until we get to on-season, even though we are, I think, officially into summer at this point. But we are here with off-season content to hold you over. Tonight, we will be drafting twists of Big Brother. The first week of these podcasts, we drafted seasons. Next, we drafted winners. And now, the twists of Big Brother. Everyone's favorite part of Big Brother, or at least so Alison Grodner would tell you. So that is the idea here tonight, to draft some twists. Twists, the definition of twists is basically like any new concept that alters the original formula that we define as season 2 of Big Brother. So the entirety of Big Brother as a game, we're not counting as a twist when it changed in season 2. But from then on, basically any change to the format, whether it stayed and became a lasting thing, or it was a one-off and didn't last more than a week. So that is what we are here to do tonight. And with me to do it is Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
Hi, Taran. Hi, everybody. I am doing great. I'm so excited to be here. This is so fun and silly, and I just can't wait to talk about this stuff. It's like my favorite type of podcast.
Yes. All right. Well, also with us is Scally. How you doing, Scally?
Hello. I'm good. Excited to talk about your favorite element of Big Brother. Break down really why you love this game.
Yes. And of course, also with us is Mari. How you doing, Mari?
Hey, I'm so glad to be talking Big Brother with the three of you. I mean, this off season, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh yeah, it would be around this time Big Brother started. I'm really glad they announced it like a minute ago. So I'm excited to be here, talk Big Brother, and prepare for the main event in a month or so.
Yes. All right. Well, I do have the results of the previous week's draft podcast, where we drafted the winners of Big Brother. In that draft, I believe that the other drafters made a little bit of an error, giving me Dan Giesling right away, and then allowing me to have June and Andy in the next two. The results were my team won with 55% of the vote, a majority vote there for the team of Dan, June, Andy, Steve, Boogie, and Evil Dick. That was the winning team of winners. In second place was Isaiah's team with 22% of the vote, which had Taylor, Derek, Cody, Nicole, Drew, and Adam. So those were the top two teams there for the winners. What do you guys think? Was that the right call?
Yeah.
I have to say that both times, both winners, I voted for the winning team. So I think we're
She's
all
got the
tapped
touch.
in. Yeah, I know. I'm ready. And also, listen, Mari, Scally, we're not gonna let this happen again. We've gotta band together. This will not happen.
This will not happen.
On our watch. This will
Nope.
not happen on our watch. That's what I
Yeah.
I think I voted for Isaiah's team. I saw Taylor and I was like, "Yep, I'm all in."
Yeah.
I think that might have been where I fell. Outside of maybe that Taylor first pick, it might have been a pretty unlikable team, but I think it might have given you a run for your money. It was pretty close there.
It was a lot of Big Brother 16, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Derek, Cody, and Nicole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are to draft twists of Big Brother. Obviously, first pick off the board, fan favorite twist, Battle of the Block. Basically the Dan Giesling of this draft. But in order to determine the draft order, we have some trivia questions about twists. So that is going to determine the order. We have 4 questions, and your score will basically determine which order you get to pick your spot in the draft. So the first question is, for the America's Player twist, what phrase did Eric need to start saying in the house? I want it word for word. Wow, it's always interesting, like which ones I think will be hard and which ones I think will be easy.
I studied. I did not study that. So
yeah, I was like
0 for me.
I'm gonna be honest. The other trivia that you were giving, I got like all of them right. I was like, I'm gonna be so good. I watched Big Brother 8 on a rewatch very quickly at like 2 times speed. So
I have not rewatched Big Brother 8. It is like I've gone back and watched everything, every season except for 8 and 9. Those are the 2 I refuse to watch again.
I will say this. So Sam put together like a massive list of like as many twists as he could possibly come up with for the show. So I had to get a little more creative with the questions because they already have all of the twists laid out for them on a sheet. All right. So answers, please, for anyone that even had an attempt at an answer here.
Yeah, mine's not available.
I was just like, what's the emoji? Like,
the answer is, I'd do that for $1.
That is super familiar once you say it. It's the type of thing that, like, I'm not pulling that.
Okay, I thought that one was going to be an easier one, so I might have messed up my scaling here.
Good.
Question number 2. For season 6's Secret Partners twist, how much money was second place going to get if both partners made it to the final 2? Of course, famously, I guess I'll give that fact after the answers are revealed. All right, answers, please. 100, 100, and 100. That is incorrect all around. It was 250,000 for second place.
I had the 2 and I crossed it out.
Yes, famously, they were offering $1 million prize pool for first place if both partners had made it to the end, with second place getting 250,000. I'm sure they really didn't want that to actually happen. All right.
Oh, I'm mad.
Question number 3. That was the hard one that I thought would be there. Question number 3. Annie famously failed her role as the saboteur, but who did America choose to step into the role for a week later in the season? All right. Answers, please.
Oh,
Reagan,
his name wrong.
Reagan, and Reagan. All 3 correct.
All right, one off the board.
All right, luckily this one should help break some ties. Hopefully, this is the final question. As long as we don't need any tiebreakers, possible of 3 points for this question because there are 3 answers. So you can name all 3 if you want. Who were the 3 takeover celebrities during Big Brother 17? There were 3 in total before they scrapped the whole thing.
Okay, I didn't want to pick the draft order anyway.
All right, and answers, please.
Said Sheryl Crow.
Girl, what?
I got.
All right. Okay, so Kathy Griffin.
Correct.
Rob Gronkowski.
Correct.
Phil Kogan.
Correct.
Right. I got
3 for
Gronk,
3.
but that would be it.
Scally
Give
gets
me
Gronk.
the key.
Tori spelling too. I saw that.
Yeah.
You're
I was
all
like,
on
let
the
me just,
same
who's
page.
associated? She showed up at 13, but I was like, maybe she came back.
Okay, that was a perfect question. Great separation here.
Yes.
Mari comes away in first place, followed by Scally and then Maggie. So Mari, you get to choose your position in the draft. But before you do so, we need to explain one extra thing about the twist draft, which is that, first of all, we will be drafting 4 twists each for our team. We're trying to figure out what are the best twists we can put on our team of twists. But then,
I actually need that.
but first, not really, but first, but then we have an extra special twist to add to the twist draft, which is that, as we all know, when you talk about twists, it's not usually about the best ones. It's usually about the worst ones. So there will be a bonus round at the end of the draft where we will be drafting the worst possible twist to assign to a team of your choice. So if, for instance, you think that you've screwed up and this person has a great team, you can pick the worst possible twist you can think of and say, hey, I want this on Maggie's team because she needs some negatives here. So the draft order will go as follows. It will be a regular snake draft until the end of the initial part. And then for the penalty twists, we will be reversing the order. So fourth will go first and so on. So that's going to be how that works. So Mari, what position would you like to be in?
I will be going first.
Mari is going first. All right, Scally, how about you?
All right. I'm gonna go all in on that bad draft picks and give me number 4.
Number 4 for Scally. Maggie.
What one do you want, Taran?
Ooh.
I have no preference.
Give him 3. Give him 3.
Okay, I'll give you 3. I'll go second.
Okay, 3 for me. All right. So that's the draft order. It's going to be Mari, Maggie, myself, and then Scally. All right. So Mari, let's just order it here in the correct.
Ooh, look at us.
Mari, you have
Yes.
the first pick on the board. You can choose from any twist the show has ever done. What twist would you like to choose?
I have to go with the number 1, the MVP, the
MVP twist. Okay, interesting.
No.
I think that's locked in, guys. I think we are set.
I heard it.
Number 1 pick on the board, MVP twist.
I was
We all
setting
heard
it
it,
up. Stop it, Sam. Oh my God. I was gonna make a basketball joke, but then I forgot about the number 1 pick's name tonight. I can't say it. So I'm gonna go with, of course, the golden power of veto, the ultimate game-changing twist, the twist that effectively made the game of Big Brother what it is. It's coming to me, comes to on my team. Let's go.
Yes, truly the Dan Giesling of the twist draft is the golden power of veto. I think. I mean, introduced in season 3, toward the end of season 3, I should say, because it was initially the silver power of veto. But the golden power of veto allows you to take yourself off the block or somebody else off the block, and has become a staple in the game of Big Brother. It's great. It's a great twist because it allows shakeups through the week. Things aren't locked in place for the entire week as they were in season 2. It was a great idea to continue to make things interesting. It allows for the plans of the people who are making plans to have their plans disrupted. And that's always a good thing in Big Brother. So yeah, great pick.
Yay.
I think it's the consensus number 1 draft pick. I think if any of us got to go first, that's what we would have gone with.
Yeah, as soon as I wasn't going in first, it was like, all right, the next tier
is
you got a couple there. So
all right. Easy number 1 pick on the board. Maggie, you have the second pick. What would you like to choose?
Okay, so I have fun ones, guys. I do. And I have fun ones that I'm going to pick later. But I got to go with the second tier that Scally's talking about. All right. The format shifts that are what make the game what it is. So I am going with the Danielle Reyes twist, which is sequestering the jury.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was my number 2. There's 1 and 2 right here. These are the easy ones, guys. This is golden power of veto, sequester the jury. They're the things that have helped make Big Brother what it is and continue to be what it is. Giving the players freedom to talk all the smack they want in the diary rooms and like be open without having to worry about that causing them to lose the game, I think is super important to the game.
Yeah. This is one of them. With like any of the picks that are this high, like if this isn't introduced, I don't think the show makes it as long as it does. I think that basically no one backstabs, no one wants to be the backstabber or talking a little bit of crap in the diary room, and we get a much more boring show.
Yeah, this is a great pick, and like Maggie said, we'll get to the fun ones later, but we gotta go with the show breaking ones, like the veto and sequestering the jury. They're so like integral to the game that you forget that they're technically twists. So yeah, that's a good pick. I was thinking of something else for 2, but that is right up there too.
I'm sure Taran will get the one that you're thinking of
Yeah.
because I also.
Oh boy. There is sort of another fundamental one here. I feel like it's not as fun and flashy. So I'm considering skipping it. Yeah, I think it's important to pull this one in. I think that okay, I'll do this one. Big twist, big one. It leads to some great moments. Very important things. You're not always happy about it, but it's always exciting. It's the double eviction.
Yeah.
Yep. There it is.
Yep.
Yep. I
Thought there
told
was a
Maggie to
chance.
go second, so Taran wouldn't get the double eviction.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. We're good.
I'm sorry.
We're good.
In my head, though, the sequestering the jury matters more than the double eviction just because it affects the winners of the season. So that's why I did that. But yes, of course, the double eviction is like, I mean, nothing is better than double eviction night. I literally treat it like it's like a Super Bowl Sunday. Like I throw a party.
Yeah, the double eviction. I was hoping you were to skip over it. I thought there was one more that might be like a little more integral.
I almost
to
did.
the-
I almost went weird with it.
Yeah. So
I know
thought
what one
just
you
maybe.
probably were thinking of too. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Who knows?
It'll get back to me, but
Double eviction's so fun. So many of the most iconic moments in the show are from the double evictions. Like even if they flop, generally, like there's a moment in there. So they're memorable. They're going to be super important. So double eviction's definitely what I would have been taking.
It's also that like injection of like real time because there are different forms of this, like the fast forward week or the which theoretically are still up for grabs, but the double eviction, there's just something special to it. A show where you're watching everything happen in real time and the episodes lag behind. We all know what happens when you don't have live feeds at all, and we don't like that. But it is nice to occasionally have a moment where anything can happen as you're watching the episode all together. It's a good time.
And I think that something that is important about all of this too, like for us specifically, like if you are watching this podcast and you are a part of this community, like it's so fun, those moments where all of us come together and none of us know what's going to happen. And all of us are on the exact same page watching it roll out at the exact same time. Because even when something wild and fun happens on the feeds, like people have lives, people have work, you know, but like this is in the primetime spot, like everybody's watching at the same time. The electricity in the fandom is so specific, and I feel like that is a huge part of this twist.
Yeah. All right, Scally, you have the 4th pick. You got 2 in a row here in the snake draft. So what are you thinking?
All right. So I know what 2 I'm picking. Now the thing is, the one that I think is more on the level of those picks, I think is a little less flashy and is not going to inspire the voters at the front of my at the front of my list. So I think I'm going to save that to the 2nd pick, go with a little more flashy and take something that I think a lot of people would love to see again in the secret pairings twist.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a sucker for a cast twist. Like I love cast twists. And that's one of my favorite ones that I really each year when we're all like, oh, is it gonna be a duo twist? Is it gonna be a duo twist? And it's not, it's just it annoys me.
Yes. It's a fun idea. Here's my pushback to the secret partners twist though. The way it played out, they immediately all found out, right? Like it kind of fell a little flat in terms of what they were hoping for it to do. I think it still kind of worked. And I certainly don't think it's a bad twist. I like it. I think it was fun. But I wonder if there's like a better way to do it.
I think though that like yes, they all immediately found out, but it created such a divide in the house. Like, that's the reason that season was so back and forth, is because people had their ride or die with them that they also had to manage. So, like, grouping up in that specific way, like, that's why everything ran so deep and like the emotions were so high, because it wasn't just somebody yelling at this person in the house that you've known for 20 something days. It's somebody yelling at your college roommate, like it made that season so dynamic and messy and like charged.
Yeah, and I feel like people knowing that they have at least one person that like had their back made them play a little bit more, not riskier, but like more full throttle. Knowing you have your number one, knowing, okay, I know I got you. Now let's find another pair. We got them. And it really did help. And then it helped that was one of those cast twists that everybody had a pair. It wasn't some people had a pair, some didn't. Every person had a pair. So it's miles like one of the probably the best cast twist.
It's my favorite. I feel like it's very easy in a lot of modern Big Brother seasons to see like the entire house gang up on one person. But if they have at least that one other person who's going to be sticking up for them, it becomes a little more difficult. You can guarantee that you're going to have two people campaigning for you, like really hard, and actually going out there and making bonds separately. So I think it introduces a fun dynamic. Plus, obviously, the I sealed your partner's fate, so iconic that I can't not talk about it. But yeah, it's something that I would love to see them revisit, and I think it's a little more flashy, which is why I went for it first.
Yeah. All right. Well, Scally, you are going to kick off the next round as well with another pick. You said this one was less flashy. So what
a little less. Yeah, a little less flashy, very integral to the game. A change that we saw finally in Big Brother 7 because people had basically broken the game. Give me randomized veto players.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to look at randomized veto players and be like, wow, what a twist, because it's the norm. It's exactly what we come to expect. And I think people might underrate how much that changed the game. But if you could have the HOH basically set up an exact plan with the house and they all agree upon it, and you have the number in a big alliance, your game's over. Like, it's done, it's settled. So randomizing those veto players is really giving us the possibility of backdoors, of mess, of things not going according to plan. And so I think it's a lot more fun to watch them strategize around that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not a flashy twist, but an extremely necessary one to counter the 5-finger plan that occurred in season 5. Yeah, I mean, it's I think in general, introducing more random elements is always going to be something that they should be doing more than not. I think random is going to be usually better than even like competitions or anything like that. Like, I like randomness. I think it helps add to the chaos of what we're looking for.
Love it. Great pick,
All right.
Scally.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I have the next pick, and for this pick, there's sort of two versions of this. One of the versions I prefer, but it kind of applies to any version of it. Should I go with that one? It might come back to me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right. I think I have to. I think, like Scally, I'm going to choose a slightly flashier twist first, and then see if my other one comes back to me. This one has led to some of the most exciting moments in the show. I really enjoy it every time it happens. It's the twin twist. I really like the twin twist. Really fun in the original season 5 version. It's Holly. It's something that couldn't really be done with any other show, and it's such a ridiculous concept that, like, just to be able to swap people back and forth out of the in and out of the house, and watch that play out in real time, to have a real tangible end goal and reward. It's naturally built in that it's going to it's going to last for a while. Another one from this season, obviously, was the secret siblings, that kind of quickly was discovered, and then that all played out very quickly. But the twin twist is it's perfectly formatted to last a while, and then eventually maybe get both people into the house. And when they brought it back in 17, it was just as fun, even when they did figure it out, because them figuring it out was fun. And then also it had a lot of really interesting strategic ramifications with how Vanessa was able to weaponize it. Twin twist, it's a good twist.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have made it back to you.
I wanted it.
No way.
I wanted it. It was gonna be my pick. I'm upset.
Ooh, I don't. Okay, I love the twin twist. I also feel like it's tough to do again. I feel like people are very on guard for it. I feel like we've seen basically both ways it can play out, with it being a secret and no one catching on, and then it being figured out very early on, which I think it is going to be most of the time, and people playing around it. I think that it is, I would love a pair of twins that I could actually stand. Haven't gotten those yet, but I think that, it's flashy, it's fun. I just don't know if it plays out as exciting as it sounds like it's promised.
I feel like I would love to see them do it with guys. I think why it worked with Natalie and Adria, right? Adria and Natalie, I think were their names, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Anyway, was because they looked alike. Liz and Julia, it didn't take a rocket scientist. I love Day, and I'm still mad that the twin twist is what helped take her out. But yeah, calling Julia Thickums is they did not look like identical twins. I'm sorry. So I feel like it could work again if they did. I would love to see male twins do it. And then kind of is it wrong to say pick people who are not all assuming? Julia and Liz were very, very pretty girls. It was gonna kind of stand out, the best spies look like regular normal people, from what I heard. So get normal looking twins, and I think it could work.
I agree with you, Mari. I think that it was obvious to us when we realized, when all the cast came out for 17 and everybody realized that Liz had a twin, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, is there going to be a twin twist? And then we saw the photos of them next to each other. I remember thinking in my head, oh, they're going to be able to tell immediately. But with Adria and Natalie, it was when they popped up, they mirror images of one another. It's why it was wild. And yeah, like Taran said, this is just such a wackadoodle twist. This, what on earth? What do you mean there's two people switching out this entire time? It's just so wild. So I love the twin twist. I do. I understand what you mean when you say it has high potential to flop, but it's just so who came up with that?
I don't know, but I think we need more twists like this one. It's you have a bunch of people in a controlled environment, and you just have them do the same things every time. But there are so many weird things you can do to make things more interesting, and I think the twin twist is a perfect example of those kinds of things. And I also love what it does to the game outside of when it's even happening, where people are always worried. Do you think? Are they twin? Do you think they're like a twin twist? Are you the same person that I was just talking to yesterday?
Yeah.
All right. So
I would love to see if there were two Steves in the house. How does that go? Give me a very against type, someone who we have not seen play it at all.
I want two twins that are actually very different people.
Ooh. They look alike, but their personality.
Imagine Steve and his alter ego, Stefan. Having to play the same person.
Austin and Judas.
He could pull that off, though.
Oh my gosh.
If he can act like a dinosaur, a wrestling dinosaur,
All right. Maggie, you have the next pick.
Okay, now I'm really stressed because I thought for sure there was no way you were going to pick the twin twist. So I thought I was safe. Okay, I don't know. We sort of talked like off pod about this. I don't know how like specific I should get here. Um, but I have to pick my favorite, the twist that gave me my personal favorite moment of the entire franchise. I remember where I was when it happened. I remember who I called after it happened. Um, I don't know if it should be the overarching twist or the concept of it, but I'm gonna pick the bonus life that gave us Caitlin's puzzle.
Dang, I thought that was gonna fall.
That is, I have to.
It
If
is
I don't
so
get-
iconinically like bad in a good way.
Like I would like to not call it, please, for branding purposes. I would like to not call it bonus life. I would like to call it Caitlin's puzzle.
I feel like that's cheating.
Okay, but it's this idea that because they've had like battle ins before, like on Big Brother 13, Brendan and Lawan, you know, like went at it, and then in Big Brother 18, like Victor battled somebody to get, but there was no
I think
battle.
This is completely different than that. Though.
The battle was just against herself and a six-piece puzzle. And I cannot describe the feelings that I felt in that 1 minute and 20 seconds or however long it was. It was perfection. It was Big Brother personified. The podcast content after it, amazing. Caitlin Herman as a player, I will never get over her. She gave us so many iconic moments. And like I said, this is my favorite moment in the entire franchise. So I have to go with Caitlin's puzzle here.
I mean, great. I think you're right. Great, amazing moment. But I think the twist itself is the weakness here, which is that like, so this power was the ability to use the bonus life on anybody that was evicted in the first, I think, 4 evictions.
4 weeks. Yep.
And then it had to be used on like the 4th one.
Yeah.
For whoever was being evicted, which by itself was like way too much power to begin with. And then the fact that it was like forced to be used at a certain time was kind of weird. However, I think that the best part of this twist is why it became a great moment, which is that they actually allowed for it to fail. Like, even though they set it up so that it shouldn't fail, they allowed for it to actually fail, which I think is so important because you never get that moment unless you allow for something like that to go wrong and to happen. And I feel like it's pretty rare for a twist to give itself the ability to flop and fail. And that was the one of the times that they did, and it led to a much better moment than we would ever have if it had succeeded.
Yeah, and I think that also the thing with the bonus life, like if we're gonna talk about it in general, like as an overall twist, like yes, it was way too powerful, but it also was used within the game. The cast and Tyler used it in an incredibly strategic way. Like this was a twist that was also used as like a bargaining chip. Which oftentimes it's like, oh, you can't use production as a strategy, but because everybody knew about it, everybody knew about the power apps, like it was able to be used in that way. And so I do think that that is a point also in its favor, that like the reason that we got Summer of Steve 2018's Blindside was because of this bonus life, you know?
Yeah. I also think that just okay, it was an iconic moment, but like Taran said, they never expected for that to fail. Like they said they didn't even have a chair next to Julie because they thought it was gonna have, they had to hustle in a chair once she messed it up. So I mean, I agree. Like a lot of those app powers completely failed. I think we didn't see 2 of them, and this was the only one that we saw because it was forced on us. For eviction 4, it was their pre-jury battle back in a sense. But you just can't get over that. Like, I cannot get over that moment. Like, I was late for my night shift watching that. It was so good. I was like, I cannot believe this was happening. I loved it.
If I'm drafting moments, like first round draft pick,
Yeah.
if I'm drafting twist, I think about 999 other people getting this twist and it not going this way.
Very true.
You know,
But they didn't. But they didn't.
So it's tough.
All right, Mari, you have the next 2 picks.
I do. I do have the next 2 picks, and I'm mad because like Maggie kind of stole my flashy one. So I feel like I might have a team full of boring picks, but honestly, I think it's going to be strong. So I'm going to go with another semi-boring twist, but I think that it's one that we all love, and it will be a general concept. I got to go with the battle back. I can't say more specifically because they've done it so many different ways, like Maggie said. Because I felt like the BB-18 battle back, like Victor shouldn't have been able to get it back into the house like 3 times. Like he shouldn't have been able to be voted out 3 times. And then most of the time, the people who battle back do go out like immediately, but I really enjoyed those battle backs to the point where like in these last few years when we haven't had them, I've kind of been like, damn, we don't have the battle back. I like Judd coming back in and staying for a little bit before he gets voted out. So it might be boring, but I do think that the battle back was a lot of fun those like few seasons, to the point where even now I'm kind of like I kind of miss it. I wish they would do it differently, but I kind of miss it.
Mari, can you pitch to us what is your ideal form of a battle bat? What's like the best version of it?
I think I prefer the pre-jury battle backs, mostly because the pre-jury, pre-jury is normally about 4 people, right? Of those 4 people, there's normally like 1 or 2 people where you're like, dang, if they just had a little bit more time in the game, they could have possibly won it. So I like the pre-jury battle back. I'm thinking about the BB. Oh, maybe the first one in BB-16, like when Jocasta, Nicole's battle back. Nicole's battle back. And BB-18, I said BB-16. And BB-18, that one. I like that one. I think I like I like the pre-jury ones better. The jury ones feel like they flop more times than not for me.
Yeah. I think for me, the battle back, there have been occasionally, like weirdly, the most successful battle back was Camp Comeback. Cliff coming back had the most successful run of any. These are actually some of my tiebreaker questions. How many weeks on average does a player that was voted out and returned via a twist survive after coming back into the game? The answer is less than 3. Less than 3 weeks they survive. And the longest surviving person was Cliff, who survived 9 full rounds before being voted out in the 10th after coming back into the game. The most common the most common result for a player that comes back into the game is that they are voted out immediately. That is the most common thing that happens to a person that comes back. And that's kind of what I think is wrong with the battle back, is that like for as many, like for every person that's like, they should have come back, they just needed a chance, there's like 10 people that shouldn't have come back. And then another 10 people that even though they should have had a chance, this house is still not going to give them that chance. And they're just going to vote them right out again anyway. So I think for me, this one is one that is just, it's too treacherous. Even though I do think it can work, I think it fails way too often to be there.
But I think it has double eviction like upside, in a sense. It's like we're not gonna hit the nail on the head every time, but I think you still love that hope. You still love that hope of the competition of like, maybe my fave will come back. They never do, but it's like sometimes it's like maybe they will. And then even if the person comes back and they get voted out another week, the next week, that's another week that whoever is in the house that you do like, they get another week. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always liked the battle backs. I have. Again, the different type of mechanisms have not worked all the time, but I do enjoy seeing somebody feel like they're getting a second chance.
Yeah, my opinion on the battle back is that I think that if you are like listening to the podcast every day, watching the feeds, looking at all the updates, and there is somebody that's battling back and you know that they're not going to make it long in the game when they come back, you're like, oh, this is terrible. But if you're a casual watching the show, the battle back is thrilling. Like I remember when I was a casual watching Big Brother 13 and watching Brendan like come back, I was like, this is amazing. Like I know, Taran, your favorite person to come back is Kaser. And like, were you watching feeds at that point?
Yeah, well, I mean, Kaser was absolutely, I was fully on board for Kaser. I was like, this, thank everybody that made this happen, including the Big Brother gods. And then they tore my heart out again, and I hated it.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. I think that if you know going in, like if you have been deeply following the feeds and you know every single little minute positioning in the game, and you're like, oh, my fave's coming back, but there's literally no way. Like you're not gonna love the battle back. But if you don't know all of that, like if you're not one of the people who is like so deep in the weeds and you're watching the show at home and you're like, oh my God, my fave is back. Let's go, Victor. You know, like, and you don't realize it's going to be a revolving door for him. Like, you know, I think that it's much more exciting.
I am not a battle back boy. I do agree that it can make for an exciting moment where people that are constantly keeping up with the feeds and know what's going on a second to second basis in this house. And it's one of the only times where anything can happen. But the problem is there were a couple seasons in a row there where the battle back was becoming pretty standard, and I think people kind of came to expect it. And at that point, people are also going to be less willing to make big moves and betray people because they are concerned that that person is going to walk right in the door and expose everything that they did. So I think that the consequences of a battle back are much greater than the rewards possible.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. All right, let's give a recap of the teams as they stand. Mari has the golden power of veto and the battle back. Maggie has the sequestered jury and the bonus life, in parentheses, Caitlin's puzzle. I have the double eviction and the twin twist. I guess I like twos. And Scally has the secret pairs and randomized random veto players. So that is the current those are the current teams. Mari, you are now going to kick us off on the third round. What is your third pick?
This one's really hard because I feel like my team it's literally not flashy. It's just straightforward. But I feel like all the flashy, fun, successful ones are gone. I am not I am not going for the messy, unsuccessful, flashy ones because no. So I think I'm gonna go with something that's kind of flashy and doesn't necessarily have a big bearing on the game. So I'm gonna kind of switch it up. I'm gonna go with Pandora's Box. I actually did enjoy the Pandora's boxes. What was it? What was the run? BB 11 to BB what? 13? 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, 14. It was so messy. It was so chaotic. You never knew what you were going to get. It didn't have too big of game ramifications, except for the one time they wanted to rig it so that Rachel could stay longer. Other than that, it was funny. It gave us Rachel, I'm back, bitches, like yelling in the house, and her and Reagan's fight. Yeah. Oh my God, that was so messy. You know, we got Mr. Spectacular. And Brittany. So I thought Pandora's Box was so funny because I was like, if I was HOH, would I open the Pandora's Box? And I liked it because again, I don't think that I don't think that it had too big of game ramifications again, except for when they wanted it to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of my problem with it is that it really did just feel like
Oh yeah,
whatever they wanted
producer
it to be,
manipulation, but it
they
was funny.
would just do. There was no real consistency to it. Whether it was going to be game ramifications, whether it was going to be good or bad for the HOH. I guess that was sort of part of the premise, but I think for I don't know. I think I'm sure it has its fans, and Mari seems to be one of them. But for me, it always just felt like just okay. Why don't you just say Rachel gets to be safe this week, or we just want to bring Jesse in for the 5th time because we need some action. Like I don't know. I was never my favorite. I didn't like the way it was presented either. Like that the idea that it was the choice of the person when we all know like there was no choice. No matter what they did, they were gonna do what they wanted.
So did everybody open Pandora's box? I thought at least one person. Oh,
yeah. That's the thing is, I think it was an illusion of choice. I don't think we were ever getting away with them not opening the box. I do love the house guests getting the reward of getting to hang out with Rachel Riley for an extra day. And I do think that Pandora's box is very iconic. It's one of the twists that I think of when I think of twists. It's just almost a little too open-ended where production can just throw in whatever they want because of how the house is going. Sometimes I almost wish that would happen more. But
it's
where we need it.
It's open-ended. Also, like when Rachel came back for the Reagan fight, like wrote like Matt's name in the pretzels, which like definitely should not have been allowed, but it was like, Pandora's box, like it's allowed. So I think that that's part of it. Yeah. Where like you said, Taran, it's like, let's just do something crazy. You don't know what it is, but it's going to be what we want to happen. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's very, very iconic for sure. And I think that if I was in there, I would open it. I would have to. You can't get Pandora's box and not,
Yeah. Are you sure you don't want to do that, Maggie? I mean, what is the audience going to think?
I'd be like, nope. Like, turn around and walk away. Not.
All right. Well, Maggie, you have the next pick.
Okay.
What are you thinking?
Okay. So I had a strategy coming in, and I have not so far completed any part of my strategy. And I'm wondering if I should just abandon ship.
Join the team.
Like, should I just jump ship? I don't know. But I think I'm going to go with the team twist. As my choice. Oh, people hate it.
No. Which one?
Never mind. I said Lamar said MVP.
No. Which team twist? Which one?
The one that they did in 23 and 18. Like those are sort of the same. Obviously, they didn't have returners in 23, but like. Are they different to you, Mari, or what is the?
You said 18?
Yeah, 18 and 23.
They're pretty much the same.
Both
they
had
had slightly different sub twists.
And like the clicks
how they were
too. And it's like the clicks is all like they're all sort of the same. So,
okay. Yep. Nope. I got it. Yep.
And I put also, I can show you on my little list that I do have coaches included. I don't know if you guys are saying like, no, we don't like that. Okay. Great. I
think the idea that like if your team wins, you can't nominate your own team.
Yeah.
It applies, but the coach is part of it. Yeah.
Okay, so the reason that I picked teams versus the coaches is I don't like half returnee seasons. Like, I mean, I obviously do because they're some of the best seasons, but in theory, I don't love them. I don't like how overpowered the returnees feel to the newbies. Like, I don't like watching them run circles around them. So I prefer just like an all new cast or an all returnee cast. And this divides the house in such a specific way that even though someone's public enemy number one, if somebody on their team has won HOH, they're safe. And it encourages not only team alliances but also alliances like smaller snake alliances within it. I think that it's never too overpowered. It's usually gone by the time they hit jury anyways, so it's only a format twist that is at the top of the game rather than continuing all the way through, like something that I won't name. But so that's why I am choosing teams.
My face aside, no, I think that's a pretty good
Okay.
pick. I personally
Thank you.
like the BB23 team twist.
Uh-huh.
I like that I liked how they did it too. I kind of like the random, like, oh, you got to pick between these two people, okay, and then
Uh-huh.
these two people. Like, I kind of like that jackpot thing that they did. The schoolyard pick was in BB18, right? It was the schoolyard pick, or was it the returning?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't really like those as much. But I like the team twist. I like how you have to try and strategize around getting, like, if you want to get somebody out on your team, and you know, Hannah and Hannah and Derek throwing that challenge so they could get Brett out. Like, I don't mind the team twist, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it's an actively bad one, and I think
Yeah.
it can be good when it
Thanks.
works.
When it works, yeah.
But I do think there are potential downsides that we've seen play out. Like, I feel like its hit rate is like it's a little hit and miss in terms of how it plays out. I do like the argument that it encourages like weird intermingling, especially when they are somewhat randomly assigned, I think. Because I do think that it's important. Like, if you are able to pick your own team, you're going to pick the people that you expect to get along with the best. And, you know, I think we can all expect what would happen with that and what has happened with that. So I think that, you know, forcing people who would otherwise work together onto separate teams causes a dynamic that could maybe prevent like bigger alliances from forming. At the same time, you are also basically just giving them like, okay, why don't we just combine these two groups together, and now we have our big alliance. And so, like, you know, I think it can work, but I wouldn't say no to it all the time, but I definitely wouldn't want it to be like too regular.
Do you think it can encourage relationships that like would not have been as strong if not for the teams? I think, like, do we see like Derek and Hannah quite as close, or like Derek F and Azza quite as close to Brittany necessarily if they're not on a team? Like, I don't know, and maybe that ends up falling the same way, but I think that it can, you know, create different social dynamics in the house that might not have otherwise been there. I like that on BBUS we have kept it to 4 teams and not gone to 2 like maybe on BBCAN. I think that half of the house is being safe is way too much.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So I get nervous when too many people all of a sudden are safe, but as long as it is just that one team, I am generally okay with it.
Like, I think that like what we're looking at now are like some of these twists, you're gonna have upside and downside to most of them, and I have been choosing, like, if I were to get onto Big Brother and play, what twist would I be like, okay, thank God it's this one, you know? Like, and that's why if I got on the show and they were like, we're putting you in teams, I'd be like, okay, great. Yeah.
All right. So I have the next pick. And what I was going to pick before has fallen back to me. It's not very easily marketed. It's not like a big name twist, but it's something that I do really enjoy. It has happened a couple of times in slightly different ways. My favorite iteration of it was in Big Brother 10, when they gave gold bars to April, that she was able to sort of like bribe people with gold bars worth I think $1,000 each, and that was part of like a veto competition. It was one of the rewards. It's come back in other forms, I think called like the BB bribe, where people have been given a certain amount of money that they can then use to bribe people in the game. I think this is a very fun idea, especially when it's like a tangible, like golden bar kind of thing. I think it adds a fun element. You know, I think that there's maybe an even more fun way to do this, where it's more than just money. Maybe you could bribe people with other things as well. But I think giving another like form of currency in the game is fun.
I really like the idea. I think it needs to probably be more money. I don't think that many people are like that concerned. Like the $5,000 when it's in a one competition for whatever reason, people lose their minds and will make bad game decisions. But when it's like, hey, could you possibly be a have-not instead of me for 5,000? Absolutely not. So I think that like for whatever reason, I don't feel like it's as impactful when they're like negotiating. It needs to be kind of a good amount of money to really go against your game and to go against your alliance. And I don't know that we've seen that. It'd be interesting if it was something like you can take my place in like my next veto competition or some other factor that they could be negotiating with. I think the idea is interesting. I just want to see it implemented a little better.
Yeah, it's definitely a pick here where like I feel like its potential hasn't been reached, but I really like the idea.
I don't even remember it.
Yeah, me either.
And I just rewatched BB10 during the pandemic, so
yeah, it's not even on our list. Our giant list
I know it's not. I wasn't gonna say nothing, Maggie, but you're right. Isn't it wasn't on the list?
I think it shows. I'm not sure if it shows up somewhere else besides BB10 or if
there
it's
is. I think 18. It's called the BB bribe, where Corey was given some amount of money. Is that on there?
Nope.
I'm not sure if it shows up, but I did see it when I like went through today. I thought about it.
Karen just said, "I'm just gonna make my own twist." And
look, Sam did his best. He tried to put as many as possible. There's quite a few on there. All right, so that's my pick. Scally, you now have another 2 picks, your 2 final picks.
All right, let me go with, again, I think this is something flashy. I think that people like a casting twist, and I'm gonna go with the X Factor here. I like the X Factor. I do wish every person in the house did have an X when it was implemented, but let's bring it back and give everyone an X. Secret pairs, but everyone's X's. Interesting to me. I think that it inspired 2 different sides of the house, which was nice. We definitely saw people again bonding in ways that they may not have otherwise if they were introduced to the house all at once. So I like the X's twist personally.
We said it. We've already said it. Like I don't understand why 3 people didn't have X's there. I
That's
get one
weird.
of them was older and married, but it's like it just didn't make sense. And I hate when they do those half ones. I truly do. Even though I do like the X Factor twist in a sense, like it gave us June and G and their dynamic and stuff like that. Of course, Erica and Robert, but I still don't understand why. Like, what was the point of only bringing in like half? But yeah, loved it.
X's it's great. I mean, it's so trashy and fun. Like, not surprising that Scally was what I was going to pick next. It was going to be my last pick. Not surprising that me and Scally, who are on the Hot Dummies on Island Speed, over on the RHAP ups, are loving the X's twist. You know, I just think it's just drama and fun, you know.
But it didn't even give us as much drama though, because half the X's were voted out the next 2 weeks, and then the other 2 were like, okay, we're cool, let's go.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's part of my issue with, because I like the idea of like secret pairs and like duos and X's. The only problem I have is that like it's inherently unequal, where it's like some X's are on great terms and can secretly work together. Other X's hate each other's guts and can never work together. And now you have a massive disadvantage in the game compared to a massive advantage in the game. And it just depends on like, I guess it's like part of your Big Brother prep needs to be having a life where you have no enemies that they can bring onto the show with you. I don't love that part of it. With X's in particular, I do think that it was kind of fun. There were certain elements of it that were fun. There were other elements that were not that fun, like watching Robert and Erica like discuss their issues over and over was like, oh my God, I don't need this in my life.
Also, the girl who's ex-boyfriend, like got very upset and had to be
Yeah.
like forcibly removed from the game,
Yeah.
and like definitely probably traumatized her. Like that was no fun.
Mhm.
Not messy.
Yeah.
Fun.
Some of the casting of the X Factor twist, not great. Not great. But the idea itself.
All right. Okay, Scally, you have one more pick.
I'm so torn. There are actually a bunch I don't hate. I think that what I'm ultimately going to do is go with something that is a little. Do I go flashy? Do I go not? Screw it. I'm going all in on flashy. Let's go with the Mon Wan twist from Celebrity Big Brother 3.
Dang it. I thought that was gonna be my ace in the hole.
Me too.
Scally has a strong team.
I'm not mad at it. I feel like, look, Mon Wan has better branding than it is a twist, I think, first of all. I think the name is really fun. I think that a lot of people have had fun saying it and talking about it. But that's not to say that a safety chain is not fun and exciting in the reverse. I feel like most people remember the second half of it, but there was also the first half where Cynthia ended up gaining safety, and it really had people exposing their alliances by having to pass it around to who they basically liked and wanted to give safety to the most. And then on the back end, who did you want to give safety and not nominate on the back end? So I thought it was fun. I think there is some ways that this could be ironed out to be a little better, but it's branding. It's fun. I like the Mon Wan twist.
Is this is kind of like the reverse of the BBOTT crabs twist, correct?
Similar.
So-
I think the BBOTT was that it was basically they were picking people that would not end up being HOH.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That one was good.
Yeah.
Too.
So I think how the twist works is that it started with the HOH, who then picked somebody that they didn't want to be safe. And then they kept picking people they didn't want to be safe until it ended with the person who wasn't chosen, which I think was Cynthia. And then Cynthia started another chain, which was then a
what?
safety chain, where she passed safety to a person who then passed safety to another person. And then it ended with the one person who is now going to be a nominee, and that person was Todrick. And then Todrick chose one of the other nominees to replace.
Forgot all about that.
And so he replaced Mirai, and then they just voted out whoever was up on the block.
Yeah, I think it was Todd, and he replaced Mirai too, and they all voted out Teddy.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, Todd.
I forgot about all of that.
Look, exactly.
I just remembered safety chain. Like,
Me too.
I don't know.
Yeah, so Mon Wan was like funny.
Now, wow.
I think the actual mechanics of it were a little weird and didn't exactly do much, because by giving the person who ended the chain the ability to choose who they replaced, it was pretty simple that all they needed to do was just choose the person they knew wasn't going to be voted out to replace them, and then the target would remain the same, and then they'd vote out that target. And so it was very rarely, I think, going to actually do anything. But I do think people will see Mon Wan and be like, that was funny.
And it's another one where, like, I want a moment where we don't know what's going to happen on TV and everything's up in the air right now. How is this going to go?
Yeah. All right. I think that means it comes back to me. I have a few twists that I could choose here. I'm struggling between twists that I think are good, but that, like, if you just see the name of it, you'll be like, whoa, no, get away from me. Or twists that I think are good that you just like won't remember. And won't like be like, what was that? I don't know what that is. So it's a little tricky here. I'm also, just so you know, very tempted to choose Scaramucci. That is very tempting.
I literally have on my thing, it says, for drama, for last pick fake house guests. I swear.
for drama, Taran.
Okay. I think this is a tricky one. It's one that people will recognize, but I think it's difficult to be able to parse out. Like, I guess I don't know. Maybe you'd have to go with everything that's part of it. So maybe I shouldn't. But I think I would choose the America's Player tasks. Is what I would like to choose. Obviously, America controlling the votes and the nominations and all of that, I'm not a fan of. But the tasks are very fun. I really like the idea of tasks, and you know, like I'd do that for $1. Dan hugging Jesse for 10 seconds. Like those are so fun, and I feel like we need more of those things. And even if you wanted to say, Taran, you have to include all of America's Player. I would say that even though it screwed over Eric and led to the result that it did, it also made for a pretty exciting season to force him into that bind.
Do you include Team America in that too? Like, is it the whole kit and caboodle? No, that's different.
The concept of team. So I thought about this because I liked the tasks that were given to Team America. I liked the idea. I liked like the mouse and like I like giving people tasks. I think that's fun. But I think the concept of like a team of people that are accomplishing tasks is a little weird, and it kind of affects the strategy a little too much. But just I guess I would say tasks. Maybe that's what the name of it. Just tasks being given to house guests.
We're really gonna let Taran just sit here and make up whatever he want to do?
That's not the twist.
I think you take all of it, personally.
It's America's Player. Sir.
If I'm taking the end of Mon Juan.
Just the part where she flips the thing.
It's just I'm just trying to figure out like what is the best way to describe it in like in a little box that works.
Player.
Yeah.
I would call it America's Player tasks.
America's Players.
If
Sam,
Maggie
America's
can put
Player.
Caitlin's puzzle in parentheses, I can put America's Player tasks.
I feel like there is a way to fix America's Player. I think that it actually was pretty fun. And I think if it ends at the final 6, let's say, if he has like a couple of vetoes, like, America, I'm not doing this one. Like I used one of my 3 strikes or whatever, because he just was not allowed to say no to the voting and nominations and stuff like that. So that's where I think watching someone that is as good as Eric navigate this, super interesting and dynamic TV. Watching Eric get screwed over by it, not as fun and doesn't look great on a voting sheet. So that's what made me nervous with America's Player. I think people have bad feelings towards it. But I think that it could be fixed if they ever decided to do it again.
Yeah, I also think that like there's an interesting way to do this where it's a little more aligned with how they presented it, where it's like theoretically Eric could just turn those things down. But that wasn't really the case. He couldn't really turn them down, and America basically would just control his nominations if he ever won HOH, so he couldn't ever win HOH. But I kind of like the idea of kind of like what happened with Dan in season 10, where it's like you have the option to give up your power this week for money and leave your game in the hands of America. You can turn it down if you want, genuinely, but then you don't get the money. And I kind of like the idea of that. And like at any given moment, somebody in your alliance, if they're not with the cause, might just give up control because they want some extra cash. You know, so I think there is promise here, even with the more game influencing parts. But in particular, I think the tasks are really fun. And I think more twists involving tasks should be introduced into the show because I think it's so fun.
Sure. Yeah.
America's Player.
Maggie, you are up next.
Okay. So I've got a team that is the exact. I came in and said I'm only going to pick casting twists. I'm going to pick Power of Veto, and then I'm going to pick casting twists. And I didn't pick any casting twists. So this has to be some type of casting twist here. And I'm going to go with the casting twist from Big Brother All-Stars. We saw it again in Big Brother OTT, where America votes in who the cast is. So America gets to pick who is on the show. That's what I'm picking.
Okay.
There we go.
I thought about that one. I think that's fun. We saw it on Survivor too with Second Chances. And it's kind of fun that like in All Stars, like the players campaigned for a spot with the audience. I do think that like I don't trust the audience is part of my problem with it.
Exactly. That's why all these America's votes are still up here.
Like if it had come down to the audience, we wouldn't have had Will on season 7. Like luckily producers actually picked some people too.
Well, this is what I'm saying though, with like this particular twist is like, it's just the cast. Like it's not about like, and if we're picking like on OTT, it was Jason and Jose. Like it's not affecting the things going on in the game. Like it's just the player walks in and then they do what they're going to do, you know? And I do think that it's fun, like the campaigns, like it's something that we as a community can get involved in. I think that that is very fun. And like I said, I think that if I'm on this season and it's like, well, America voted this person in, I'm like, whew, glad that was one of the like 3 twists of the season and that's out of the way, because that's not really affecting me at all and like the moves that I'm actually making in the game.
I would also say, like, definitely would need to specify only for All-Stars. That definitely never vote in new players.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it says, well, but America votes
another mistake BB Can has made.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that America votes in returnees.
Sure.
Because it's on both seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever see this again. Me as a child had a ton of fun logging in every day voting for BB6 and Dana because she told me she would give me a shout out on a live feed when I met her. But otherwise, I feel like this was fun. I think that the audience is in a different spot from back then slightly, where if you look at who was voted in on Big Brother, in terms of like people that are watching these shows now are a more dedicated audience and voting in these polls, where I think then it was just like everyone's grandma was voting. And I still think there's a little bit of the audience here. And, you know, everyone's casuals. We're all voting. And I think that the Survivor cast reflects like a much better vote in than the All-Stars vote in back when on BB7. So I think it's fun in idea. I don't know how that would go though.
The Stan Wars that would occur if they gave us the chance to vote in the All-Stars now, it would sheer pandemonium. Sheer pandemonium.
All right. Mari, you then get the final pick.
Oh, my stomach. I don't know, man. I think I have a very solid workhorse team. We are solid over here. We have the golden boy putting my team on. It's back with the golden power of veto. But I think for the 4th one, with like all of the stuff left, I think I wanted, maybe it's the recency bias, but I want to go with the split house double eviction, aka Brochella Dire Fest, because it was one of the most frustrating and compelling and horrendous weeks of Big Brother. And I would actually like, I hate to say this, I would like to see it happen again with a different cast, because I want to see if another cast could adapt to it, different from how this one did. But so much happened. It didn't always go in our favor. But I thought it was interesting, and it gave us so much content for the last half of the season. So, you know, this is my Hail Mary. The split house, double eviction, Brochella, Dire Fest. Okay, the chat is judging me. Jesus. I don't care. Like, the rest is trash, y'all. The rest is trash. Like, I'm sorry. But that's
This
what
This
I'm
is really
that's what I'm
interesting.
looking.
I considered this one. I think it is a good idea for a
Yeah.
twist. I think it's a risky one to pick because
Probably it's because
I think there are
the
people
Joseph of it
who,
all.
to this day, still have trauma when they see Direfest written down.
Yeah, I know.
It's so like I think
But it's
how it
cool.
played out is bad. There were a couple of problems with it. One is that we didn't get any live feeds for it because they failed to properly soundproof the backyard.
Right.
So that's a big issue with the concept. And then number two, they allowed Michael to basically choose the teams,
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
really just like set the whole thing up for an easy ride for at least half of the house. I think that if you wanted to make this work, and I think you can make this work, I think it
Right.
has to be random. And I think that you have to be able to actually show both sides of the house without having to
Mhm.
blank everything out because you're not soundproofed.
Exactly.
I think that this can create like an interesting obstacle as a game obstacle for players, but as a
Mhm.
TV product, I am extremely anti this twist because I look at what is the most boring part of the game of Big Brother, and it's the end game, like the final five, final four, and through
That's
this
true.
twist, we get
Mhm.
3 of them. We got 3 final
Mhm.
fives now.
Mhm.
You know, it's basically as long as like the competition doesn't get won by one wrong person, we know exactly what's going to happen for you know, every scenario. Here it's pretty obviously played out. It also robs us of an actual double eviction where we could have just had like a plain old normal double eviction. I would have been much happier with that. So
Mhm.
I am pretty anti this twist returning in the future.
All right.
I like I said, I think I would like to see it come back better. If they execute
Mhm.
it better, I think this could be pretty good.
I don't hate it, Mari. I kind of
Thank
like.
you,
I mean,
Maggie.
I know
Thank
everybody
you,
was
Maggie.
upset that we lost feeds. Like, of course, the execution. But I had it. It was the last one that was on my list that's not crossed out. So I'm right there with you. I think
Mhm.
that there was great potential there, and if it had been more
Right.
randomized, it could have been much more exciting.
And I agree with the chat saying that like it would have been a lot better if they did it early game where there's like a lot
Yep.
more players on both
Yes.
sides.
Yes.
Much
Yep.
better.
Exactly. This is that's definitely one of those picks where it's I'm picking potential and not
Mhm.
outcome. But
All right. I actually still have a few left.
So do I.
That
Well,
I
good
would
for
want to pick.
you.
Scally does too.
interesting. Okay.
But you guys are out. You crossed off all your lists.
Well, are we doing another round? I thought that we
Well,
only were doing 4 rounds.
Well, I'm saying that like the round's over. Theoretically, you know, it hasn't been that long. We could go for another round, but if you don't have any more picks, then I think we can call it there and then draft our bad ones.
Or
I
even just
mean,
talk about any others that are interesting.
Yeah, we could also
But
just
Mhm.
mention
Yeah.
honorable
Let's just talk about
mentions.
some stuff.
yeah. Let's
I
do
mean,
it.
I do. I mean, yeah. Yeah, they're like I do have some stuff that are still on the board, but I didn't want to draft stuff that was similar to other people's stuff, even though
Yeah.
I thought they were good twists. You know, maybe that might be a downfall. Everybody's saying people are saying there's another round.
no, I think that's fair. I think to
We
make
look.
your team
We
stand
could.
out is
If
If
you
you
want
guys
to do
want to
another
do another
round, I'll
round,
pick something on
I'm
the
not mad at
fly.
another
All
round.
right,
That's
let's
fine.
do another round then.
we'll go up and down again.
Just go
All the
straight
way?
through, yeah. And
more
then we'll
picks
make
or-
it even
or-
easier with the last round.
Okay, yeah.
maybe
So we'll do
going
one
first.
round and then negatives back.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's
Okay.
perfect.
That
Okay,
makes sense.
all right,
Okay.
so that's
All
back
right.
to me.
Mari,
Okay.
bonus round. We're giving
Bonus
another
round.
twist to our twist drafts.
The twist. Expect the unexpected. Since this is like a gimme, I'll go on ahead. I'll pick one. I like the coach's twist. I think it's different. It's different enough from Maggie's team twist. I think it gives us a very iconic season. I think if they even would have kept the coach's twist, literally just the coach's twist, and had them like not enter the game, I think it would have been interesting as well. I wouldn't have mind watching that play out. I like the thought of like a Big Brother draft kind of playing right in front of our faces. And I wouldn't mind seeing it again. So I'm gonna pick the coach's twist. A little bit of redemption, hopefully. Well,
I thought about coach's twist. I think it's such an interesting idea.
It is. It's amazing. Like to have, yeah. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, go ahead.
No. I was just to say, like, to have somebody in there too that has experience and can coach you through it, and then have your team be able to teach your team and maneuver. I think it was great. Again, it kind of had some downfalls because we did get a few teams teaming up, so it led to like the destination of one team. But there was enough drama that it kept it going. And honestly, if the coaches didn't enter the game, I still think it would have been a good season. The fact that they did enter the game made it like a top tier season. So yeah, I thought it was good.
I think the concept of the coaches minus the coaches entering is a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think that coaches entering the game didn't work, especially because of how they did it with like Frank being saved, and then like, and coaches weren't supposed to be part of the game, so it added extra animosity toward them, and it was just like it just didn't quite work, I think, in the way that it should have been. But I think the concept of coaches is cool, especially if you're able to get people that don't want to play back in. That said, I think that one of the reasons why they were brought in is because you probably aren't going to get a lot of people that would be willing to be there for 100 days and not play. So I think that's part of the issue, but I do like the idea of non-players being there, people that you like already and want to see as part of the show, adding extra, fun stuff to it. Whether you listen to your coach or not is interesting. And I also think that you don't even need like teams necessarily to be a part of it. You could just, draft players, or you could, there's all kinds of things you could do with it. But I think as long as you don't actually add them to the game, I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Okay. So with coaches, if this is they never enter the game, like give this to me frequently. I'm down to watch this. Like it's very interesting. One of the only pushbacks that people ever say with that portion of the game is we don't get to see the cast play and we get to watch like the coaches play. Okay, you get to watch 4 of all-time great characters play and not Jen City and Chef Joe. I'm okay. I think I'm good. So like watching them negotiate every single week on like, you give me this one, I give you this one. Like that is super interesting to me. I feel like the talks between the 4 coaches were some of the best feeds of that season. So I really like coaches in its potential.
Yeah. All right, Maggie, what's your bonus pick here?
Gosh. I mean, I think I have to go like a little trashy, guys. I'm sorry. I think that I gotta go with the Project DNA. Like it's bad what they did to those people.
That is
like,
so messed up.
It's so messed up.
Pretty good TV.
Oh my gosh, so compelling in so many ways. Are you kidding me? I have a friend who's rewatching or who's never seen any of the seasons, and I gave him seasons to watch, and he watched 6, and like they mentioned something about Project DNA in 6, and he completely went off list and was like, I have to watch that. And because he was like, what do you mean there's like secret like siblings who've never met each other in the house? Like it's really wild that they did that. I can't believe that they got away with that. And I'm not sure, but I mean, feeds. Could you imagine if we had that now and then there's feeds? Just, I mean, wild stuff, guys.
Yeah, I probably would have picked this. Like to me, having Twin Twist and DNA like would have been overkill for my team. And I preferred Twin Twist to this one, but this is another really good one, I think. Like, because when I think of like what is a good twist, there's what is good for the game and could lead to good moments, and then there's like what just has given me good moments and what was compelling to watch. And this absolutely is compelling to watch. It's like remembering the first time I watched it when I was a kid and how like wide-eyed I was, to even on a rewatch, it's still compelling television. There's just it's whether it's trashy or not, like you can't take your eyes away. And I think that like that is what makes a good twist when it's not game focused.
Yes, and I want to clarify, like, it's not trashy on the contestants. It's so
Oh, no.
trashy on Big Brother's part to do that to them. Are you kidding me? That is so trashy from production to like put these people in that situation. But I mean,
exactly. The thing is,
I'm gonna watch.
The twist is trauma. But if you tell me that that's going to be on next season, I'm gonna be seated, and that's a problem. But I will be there, and I will be watching it.
Yeah, Big Brother 5 was the first season I watched live, and it was because of that. I was like, what? Secret siblings, twin twist, huh? But I think it started out like BB5 started out like really good, and then once the Four Horsemen kind of took over near the end, it kind of wasn't as fun. But I do think that the casting twists from BB5 were just so good and spot on.
And I mean,
yeah, but I felt icky picky.
Me too. That's why I was like, I know. That's why I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to take a shower after this, but I have to pick it. I have to.
I'm glad we did an extra round. I feel like we're getting some good picks in here. All right, I'm up next, and I feel like I already got more flashy ones out of the way. I told you I have like ones that I'm not sure how it will come across. This is one of the least favorite seasons, of course, but I actually really liked this twist. I thought it was a good one. I thought it worked really well. The safety suite in Big Brother 22. It's I think one of the best early game twists that Big Brother has ever done in terms of like a game oriented twist. The idea that like you have one entry ticket into a safety competition and you need to guess which time you're going to need it is so good. It's to me it's like it's like an evolution of the veto. Like it's another angle for things to shake up, and we saw them shake up. I mean, Kaser and Janelle being safe was just like such a huge thing for that first week, and changed and forced Cody into having to do an entirely different thing than he wanted to do, and it feels earned too. That like you had to pick the right week to do it, and it gives the HOH like you have to keep your plans a secret. Cody wasn't able to. They were able to see through it. They played. They won. Like I just think that it's a cool concept, and it doesn't really take anything away if it doesn't work. Like okay, once that happened, nobody really gained safety from it. That's fine. It was still like it didn't take anything away from the game. It didn't make things worse for the people on the bottom. It was just I think a cool way to go about something like this that actually didn't screw things up and actually was pretty fun.
Didn't the majority find a way to
game it?
They gamed it a certain way. I feel like by week 2 they like figured out how to
so I think it lasted for like 3 weeks. And so I think like in the second week, well I actually don't remember. They were basically like, well, this person hasn't played yet, so they're more dangerous to us than this person who has played it.
Right.
I think is like, it's not really gaming it as much as it is just like adding another element of strategy of,
in the third week, they nominated people who had already used their safety suite so that they couldn't have used them again or something like that. I feel like, I don't know.
I think it was
right.
They all loaded up on like a week where they wanted to make sure that like whoever was playing doesn't win.
Oh, week 2.
I think,
they try to get
be
out.
Honest, Taran, if you want to throw out this round, I'm great. This is the one I really wanted. I'm very, very upset. I think there's so much potential here. I don't love like an extra comp thrown into the week. But if we have to have one, this is my favorite iteration. I think that there is like, again, a ton of potential here. I think on a non-all-star season, there is not necessarily going to be as solid of an alliance. Also, in the first week, that is going to be able to just break this immediately. So I think that this is something that if this was on every season, I wouldn't really mind it that much.
All right. Scally, you now have the real final pick.
Now I'm devastated. Okay. I am looking through and I'm between, I don't know, two, I guess. Let's just go with name recognition on this one. I'm going to triple up on the casting twist. Give me Rivals.
Rivals.
So, again, I wish there were more Rivals in the house.
Right.
But we talked about trashiness, and this had it. Like, I just think that it is one of the most interesting things that have happened on the show. I mean, watching Evil Dick and Danielle's relationship, again, extremely traumatic, but it's TV. So it was interesting to watch play out. It was interesting to watch even like Dustin and Joe's relationship and how that fell apart in the, like, you know, in the house. So I think that this has a ton of potential. I would love to see Rivals in terms of, you know, it doesn't have to be X's as the X Factor twist. Rivals is just fine. Get me people that know each other and don't like each other, and it's going to bring more drama to a season.
Yeah,
I would wonder how they would pick a new rival season. This modern Big Brother, I feel like they'd go on Instagram and do something crazy, like find people who are Instagram beefing or something like that.
I think it would work best for a returnee season, because you know the history. I mean, the last thing I want is like Big Brother alumni to turn into the Challenge alumni, where they're like starting beefs just so they can be on a rival season. But like, I think if you do one and you pick organic beef that happened on a season and not off a season, I think that's fun.
Yeah, and I want them to not know that the other person is coming too. Like I like, you know, I'm trying.
I mean, that's gonna be hard to pull off with how much they talk preseason, but
that's exactly. But yeah, some more organic beef. Yeah, the fact that it was only 3 of them really brought that one down for me, and the fact that one of them it was I haven't talked to my daughter in 2 years, and the other one was, she didn't give me $5 back.
Yeah,
when
that
we were
was
12. Like what? Like I needed that $5.
I mean, like Danielle is like 19 on national television with her like, you know, this dark, difficult relationship with her father, where everybody in the house hates him, and she also hates him, and like it's just, you're right. It's just very, you know, you watch that and you just feel really bad for Danielle. Like I watched that season and I'm like, oh my God, this girl is a child on TV dealing with this. But wow, it's so good. And at the end, when they're in the final 2 and Dick wins that final 3 competition and they're hugging each other, oh my gosh, like the arc of the season, so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's another one that's like, it was very compelling, even though I didn't feel good about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think my only other issue is the same one as with the X's, where it's like, it's just so unbalanced in terms of like,
even more so.
Yeah, like what kind of rival is it? What kind of relationship do you have? And how many people have rivals, you know, versus not. But yeah. I think it's a good pick otherwise.
Not ideal in terms of like, I am creating a game to make it as balanced and fair as possible, but in terms of I want to watch a television product, give me Rivals.
Yeah. All right, here are the final teams before the bonus round, where we draft the worst twists for each other. Mari's team is the Golden Power of Veto, the Battle Back, Pandora's Box, the Split House Double Eviction. Should we I guess Mari, it's up to you. You can call it that, or you can call it
Split House Double Eviction.
Okay.
No parentheses.
And the coach's twist. Maggie has the Sequestered Jury, the Bonus Life.
No, There has to be something about Caitlyn's puzzle in there. Nobody's gonna know what bonus life is.
Oh, I think Sam said we have to we can either go with clarification or no clarification for everyone.
I just feel like nobody will know what it is.
I think it's fine to say bonus life, Caitlyn's puzzle, and America's player tasks.
But that's
I wonder why Taran's okay with it now.
No,
I vote for no clarification.
Also, though, America's player tasks, you liked one part of the twist, but that wasn't the whole twist.
I could call it Dan's America's player. Only the iteration in season 10 where they had it for 1 week. Dan did it. It's recognizable. I think if you want to
draft only Dan's 1 week, that's fine. But that doesn't include Eric's.
I think that makes more sense. We could call it Dan's America's player.
I mean, I don't know that that's what you did draft.
I mean, that's more along the lines of what I was aiming for.
Sure.
Like when I think about the best task, I'm thinking about Dan hugging Jesse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you didn't draft that. You drafted America's player
tasks.
Specifically the tasks.
We can what do we think? Are we adding clarification or no?
I say no.
I'm a vote on no, but
okay. You two are the ones without this issue, so then I will let you decide.
All right, there it is. Okay, bonus life, team twist, America votes for cast, and Project DNA for Maggie. My team is the double eviction, the twin twist, the gold bar BB bribe, America's player, and the safety suite. And then Scally has the secret pairs, the random veto players, the X Factor, Mon Juan, and Rivals. Those are the teams.
Just that.
Before we get to the bad ones, I guess I'll call out a couple of other honorable mentions for me. I think the cloud power was actually a cool twist. I think it's if you put it there, it's got negative connotations because of how Tyler presented it in the final two speech. But I like the idea of what is the closest thing to a hidden immunity idol on Big Brother, where you basically can be safe at any meeting, but you have to pick the meeting ahead of time, like which one you're going to use it on, and you can only use it on one. So if you're like immune for nominations, you're still vulnerable for a renom at veto or whatever. So I like that twist. I think it's a good one. I think it's worth bringing back. And then another very niche one, never even was used, but was an option in Celebrity Big Brother, the Spotlight veto, which is and the only reason I didn't pick this is because nobody would have any idea what it is. But it's basically a veto that you have to use on somebody. It's a forced veto. I like that concept a lot. I like the idea of a veto that must be used and the kinds of ways that influences how you have to play the week.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the cloud app, right? He never used it.
Yeah, he never used it. I guess both twists were never actually used.
They were never used, so great. Like
that's why I didn't pick them.
Yeah.
Any other honorable mentions, or should we go to our worst twists?
I mean, there were ones that I debated. In terms of like, look, the Big Brother takeover flopping so hard was iconic.
I mean, it's so iconic. Scaramucci. Same thing with Scaramucci. Like I'm like, I want for the memes. I want Scaramucci on my team.
If I felt like my team was like definitely not going to win, I was going to pick Scaramucci because I wanted Scaramucci. Because people would be like, that wasn't even a twist, Taran. And B, it was amazing.
The people are asking in the chat the diamond power veto. I know one reason why I didn't pick that. I just think it's too overpowered, and I don't even think it's a fun one to bomb any of you guys with. Like the diamond power veto, it's just kind of like it was overkill. They did it in what, 2 seasons? Was it 2 seasons?
Well, technically more, but it's only really been used. Well, because the thing is that it was called the
did it in
Diamond
12?
Power Veto. I think in season
4.
4 or
4.
5, 4. Yes, 4.
Yeah.
But it was really just a regular Final Four veto.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and then Matt used one, and then
Yes.
Christy had one
And
that she could
and
or kind of
threatened.
had one. Yeah.
Yeah, Cliff shook him down.
Yeah. I think it just helps out the majority alliance too much. The majority of the time it is going to help them, or it is going to help underdogs. So that's why I would never pick it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, the only one that I was just debating, and this was like a weird one, was America as MVP. Now, I think that it does really just change the game in a way that I'm not looking to do regularly. But just first of all, America accidentally nominating Alyssa is so funny. It's the funniest thing that's ever happened. And then also America basically putting up a third nominee for BBOTT and balancing the house out every single week, just switching sides over and over. Also kind of iconic. So, like, is it a good game twist? No.
No.
But it create interesting moments? Yes. So
yes.
I thought about it.
All right. Let's get on to the penalty round. So how this is going to work, we're going to start with Scally, and we're going to each draft what we think is the worst twist, and basically just you can pick whatever team you want this twist to be on, and then Mari will just have to give hers to whoever is left. So Scally, we'll start with you. What is the worst twist?
All right. Taran, I'm really sorry, but I am a little bitter over the safety suite. So I do have to balance that one out because I thought that was going to be clutching it for my team. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go with a completely game-breaking twist. I think it will ruin a season that it is on, and go with Battle of the Block. For
Battle of the Block. Okay. Let's bring up the board here so that you can take a look at the teams for the choices. Battle of the Block has landed on my my board. This is the problem, Scally.
I know.
Fan favorite twist. It's a fan favorite twist. You just
got it back.
Scally, how could you forget?
Yeah.
Here's the thing though about the Battle of the Block. It's a bad twist. Yes. When you remember it on season 16, you're like, God, that was garbage. What you might forget is that when it was called a fan favorite twist, it was brought back to season 17, which is a good season, and it didn't actually ruin that season. It could have, but it didn't. So, if we're talking, look, it's like it's only ruined one of the 2 seasons it's been on.
Yeah.
And it has great name recognition.
That is true.
Like you can, it's there. You know exactly what you mean by it.
I don't know if great name recognition on a bad twist is a good thing. I would rather something that's forgotten about in terms of a bad twist on my team. But yeah, I think that obviously it ending much earlier in BB17 is definitely a plus, as well as, just generally there being more like 2 sides of the house that are a little more even, I guess, on BB17 made it, not as bad, but it is breaking most seasons that it's on.
Oh, all right. I feel like I've got a couple of big bombs here that I could drop, but I don't know who to drop them on because I feel like that last round really helped balance things out a little more. I think Scally's very, very cast heavy.
Nobody's gonna vote for me because
Maggie without clarification is definitely weaker.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mari with Battleback and Pandora's Box, and then Split House. I feel like that's like it's a controversial 3, but she's got the POV right at the top. And I've got 2 different ones that I could use. I think one is like worse in terms of like what it does to the game, and then one is worse in terms of what happened with it. So you probably know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know.
So let's see. I think I'll go ahead and give. I'll give it right back to Scally. Go ahead and take Camp Comeback.
Camp Come Black. Camp Come Back. Yeah. That's the
I wouldn't have
bomb,
done
man.
this to anyone.
Napalm.
This was too mean.
Napalm.
Yeah. With how Camp Comeback plays out, it's obviously just like atrocious. Even the idea of Camp Comeback is going to be really bad, in my opinion. I think where it saves people, even that you do like, and it is not as atrocious, they're going to be ostracized in the house. And where it saves people that you don't like, I'm going to have to deal with them for 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks. So there's real no upside for Camp Comeback to me.
Sam, let's make sure we're very clear in the tweet that this is a penalty round and that these were not chosen.
Yes.
Yes.
Just as very clear as possible that we think these ones are bad. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's a terrible twist. It's a terrible
horrendous.
twist. And
At
I mean,
all levels.
Even removing what happened, it was a bad twist. But what ended up happening is that it really put a spotlight on one of the biggest issues that Big Brother faces in terms of both its casting and the outcome of its casting at the time. And so it's really like it's a dark spot on Big Brother history.
Not only did it turn into camp segregation, but it completely nuked any real game moves in those first 4 weeks. Because why would I backstab or, turn on anybody if I know I have to live with them? Like, I can't believe we were this close to like getting that majority alliance to turn on each other after the first week, just for them to announce this twist. And they're like, kumbaya. Like, man, that was so bad. Like, I can't believe the producers didn't see this coming. And then the people being voted out, the optics of the 3 of them sitting there, oh my God, just from top to bottom, I can't say a good thing about this twist. Well, we did get to see David try and maneuver in the house. It didn't work because, again, the people in the house said we're not talking to them. But I mean, this twist was bad, man.
All right, Maggie. I guess this is chosen for you at this point.
Yeah, so
I'm
gonna
to Mari.
Come on,
I'm
Maggie,
gonna give
come
Mari
because
one.
remember, I'm coming back at you. So.
I know. And for the record, if Taran had not picked Camp Comeback, I would not have given you Camp
Thank
Comeback.
you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Not on Juneteenth week.
I would
if
not
we had
have
gone through the worst twists and not named Camp Comeback, what would that have said about us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm going to give you Mari the night 1 eviction.
Oh, dang it, Maggie.
Because it's painful.
It's so
and
bad.
It's unfair. And justice for Jody.
Cameron.
Justice for Cameron. Justice
we don't know
for,
that other. We don't.
For them too.
That's
those
it.
2.
That's just the 2.
The 2 players that happened to.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I'm unfortunately going to have to drop you with that one.
Yeah. It's bad. And it's really bad for the person that it happens to. It is like soul crushing to watch. The only reason I didn't go with it, I think the other 2 are worse, is I think that this is not game breaking. It is awful for the person that it happens to. And then unfortunately, the game moves on. So I don't like it. I don't ever want to see it again. But it doesn't break an entire season. Sadly.
Yeah, it rips off a Band-Aid that you don't enjoy. But then you don't really have to deal with it until, ever again.
Oh,
it's a bad one though.
It is. It's not fun. It is probably like one of my like most hated twists. Like, this is like, y'all did a really good job, because now I'm kind of like looking at the stuff and I'm like, what other ones are like as bad as these 3? And it's not much left over. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking at the list. Nothing hits as hard as Can't Come Back, though.
When I know it.
Oh no. Okay.
Scally, when you were picking one for me, I was like, please Battle of the Block.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing. And that was another, again, it was like, I'm going to give him break the entire season. It was rough.
Okay. All right. I guess for Maggie, the only thing that I can really do is a twist that was just inconsequential. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just inconsequential twists.
I hope it's the one I want.
No. Oh God.
I know what I would give.
Yeah,
the one I was thinking of still isn't
Well,
chosen.
you're not the one picking Taran. Let Mari pick her pick.
I don't know. Oh no. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I think I got it. Like I'll tell you the two I was in between. Okay. I was in between the hacker competition and Festy Besties. The hacker competition, because it was just so unfair. I didn't like how, like, again, if your alliance member wins HOH and somebody else wins a power that basically degrades their HOH, and then your buddy goes out on your HOHs. I hate those. And then also they got to nullify one vote. It was like you got to nullify one vote. You got to like put somebody on block, like all this stuff. I didn't like the hacker competition, but it did give us anal lice. So, trade. The next one is Festy Besties. Is like Big Brother was so dumb that they were like, we want to just kind of hand the game to a big alliance. The only reason why BB24 was as good of a season as it was is because the cast actually broke out of the twist. If Festy Besties had went through, that big alliance had already picked people who were not in their alliance, we could have had a cookout style season where the players didn't even have to work hard to do it. So I think I'm definitely gonna have to go with Festy Besties.
Yeah,
that was my thought process. What were y'all thinking? This one was hard because I think y'all really got the bombs out.
Festy Bestie was one I was considering for sure. I think the only issue with Festy Bestie is that the season, like the cast was able to kind of swerve around it. Like,
Taylor won with Festy Besties, okay?
No, she won in spite of Festy Besties. That's the thing.
I do think it is one of the worst conceived twists they've ever made.
So bad.
I think it's really bad.
Horrendous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is, when people hear it, I don't think they're going to think of just how bad it could have been. I think it is atrociously bad. I think it is game breaking. I think especially if you like have this go on even longer than it did, it is just horrific. So I think the two that you were debating between were the two I would have debated between in your spot as well.
Yeah, hacker's pretty bad. Dishonorable mentions, I would have also thrown, coup d'etat in there.
Coup d'etat, yeah.
I thought of that too, but I think we hate the coup d'etat, but I don't know if the audience at large hates the coup d'etat.
Here's one that I was definitely considering throwing in. Friendship bracelets.
I thought so too, but it's not on the list, and I don't, I'm not about to make things up, so I would have said the whole Den of Temptation and like that whole thing, but again, I don't think that has as much name recognition. I thought about friendship bracelets though.
When you said Mari, like I'm just gonna give you one inconsequential. I was like saboteur.
Nah. Yeah, I was really kind of thinking of for the inconsequential one too, the Tree of Temptation, where like they ignored it.
Yeah.
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 The only
Just season 9, I think, is another option.
did definitely
Oh
think
yeah,
about that.
soulmates.
The entirety of season 9.
Well, yes.
The entire existence of season 9.
Yeah.
Soulmates is so bad.
Season
It just is
9.
going to pull someone out like as collateral damage almost every week that it's in existence. So really hated that one. I did also think about the backstage boss. Backstage
too.
boss is basically like it's close as to the night 1 eviction as you can get, where they are immediately targeting 3 people. A lot of the meta, I feel like, in Big Brother for a little while was like, well, if I put up women in the first week, then maybe people won't be so mad. And I think that the backstage boss played out in a very similar way, where then like only one of them was going to then get immunity from America, and then it was just like a comp. Then you go home. Like that's it. You go home. So I think that like they got to live in the house, but it basically was an immediate eviction as well.
Yeah, but we saw it for 1 week, and then it didn't even play out because girl left, and then they canceled it for the rest just to bring Festy Bestie. So it's just like all of that felt like it was on the fly, and you could tell.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are the final standings for the teams.
Night 1 eviction.
One more time. Mari's team is Golden, Power of Veto, the Battleback, Pandora's Box, Split House, Double Eviction, Coach's Twist, and the Night 1 eviction. Mari, how are you feeling about your team?
I feel good. I get it. I think I have 2 to 3 picks that are like controversial. You know, people are split on them, but I think that they have enough name recognition and enough pros to carry. I think the Golden Power Veto and the Coach's Twist are big wins for me. I think people enjoyed those. The Night 1 eviction, man, that's a rough one. Like honestly, I have that as like one of my worst ones. I hate it. I truly hate it. I feel so incredibly bad for those players, and I hate when they do that. Like it grinds my gears. So that was a good job on Maggie for that one.
Thanks, Mari.
All right. Maggie's team is the Sequestered Jury, the Bonus Life, the Team Twist, America Votes for the Cast, Project DNA, and Do Not Assume about her Festy Bestie, which is the last pick there. Maggie, how are you feeling?
You know, I feel really good. I just realized as I was sitting here staring at my team that we had clarified, like, I just would like to say this is in America, these twists. This is not anything to do with Canada. I'm talking about America voting for cast members that were previous players. So I just need to clarify.
It does say
that.
America Votes.
America votes. I had it in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of like other things that have happened other places that I hated that twist. This specific twist was the voting and returning players. But I am feeling great, actually. I didn't get what I assumed I would get going in, but I like the roster that I got going on. I think out of the bombs, my bomb is the least bad bomb, and I'm very grateful. So yeah, I'm please vote for me. Yeah.
All right. My team is the Double Eviction, the Twin Twist, the Gold Bar, BB Bribe, America's Player, the Safety Suite, and the Battle of the Block. I feel really good about my top 2. I feel like Double Eviction and Twin Twist is the strongest top 2 on the board. I kind of went a little rogue with Gold Bars. Will people remember it? Not sure. America's Player without clarification is tough. And then Safety Suite is part of All Stars that people don't like. So I like all of them, but I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. And then of course Battle of the Block, probably the most recognizable twist that people don't like. I don't think it's as bad as Camp Comeback, but it's I think probably the next biggest sinker. So we'll see if that sinks me. Scally's team here, the Secret Pairs, Random Veto Players, the X Factor, Monwan, Rivals, and Camp Comeback.
You know, I feel great about my picks. The ones that I picked feel
Are
great
good, yeah.
to me. So if I lose the vote, I know who I'm blaming.
Hey, you came for me first.
It's fair.
And I feel like it would be fair. It would be fair to blame it on that for you guys. 'Cause I think you have a pretty good team.
All right. Well, that is the draft. That is the twist draft. The poll is now up on Twitter. Hopefully hopefully let me take a look at this. Make sure that they're properly explained that we did not choose the last ones. I do not want replies in the tweets about, hey, this is no clarification. It's right, it's just at the bottom. Oh boy. All right. Well.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, there's
Great.
no clarification.
Great.
Well, I think people will
Sam
realize
says
when
it's
all
in
of
the
our last
tweet.
ones are bad.
It's in the tweet.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not
The
on
description
Yeah.
Gotcha.
says
Okay.
and penalty bad twist round.
Mhm.
I don't look. I didn't read the description. I don't think most people will, but we'll see how it goes. If there are people in the replies that are like, "Wow, you guys are terrible people. I can't believe you picked Camp Comeback." Please clarify to them. All right, so that is the draft. Go over on Twitter, vote for your favorite team of twists. We will be retweeting the poll for you. We will reveal the results next week for the winning team, and we'll be back next week with another off-season podcast. So look forward to that one. Until then, you can of course find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, hanging out, playing. I just played that game Only Up that everyone's playing. That was pretty fun. My palms were sweaty the whole time, but I got through it. Might go back to that, playing some Goose Goose Duck, watching some jet lag, stuff like that. So come and hang out over on Twitch. Mari, where can people find you?
You can find me on the Wrestling Wrap Up every week. Me and Matt Scott go over the weird, wacky world of wrestling. Yes, we're back. We're having a great time. So go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed to check it out. You don't even got to watch. You can just listen to us and our amazing guests talk about men in tights. Also, every Tuesday, me and Sarah Carradine bring you True Crime Tuesdays to RHAP on the Crime Scene podcast, where we are a true crime review podcast where we review true crime properties. So this past week, we record so much in advance. I'm trying to remember what came out this week, but this week we had Chappelle on. We did Rodman's Stolen Millions. So we talked about like a 30 for 30 where Dennis Rodman, he loses money. And it was really fun. Me, Sarah, and Chappelle are always a good time. So go to robhasawebsite.com/crime feed in order to subscribe to that. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. And of course on twitch.tv/Mari Talks Too Much as well.
All right, Maggie, how about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at mlmorgan_, and you can find me every week now. We're 2 weeks in. Kirsten and I are on the Hot Dummies on Islands feed. We are covering Temptation Island and a new show on USA Network called The Big D, which is about a dating show that brings recently divorced couples into a house together to date one another. So if that sounds like your type of thing, we have rebranded from Temptation Island to Hot Dummies on USA Network. So check us out. Our newest episode is up from yesterday. The episodes air Wednesday on USA. So our newest episode is already up if you want to check it out.
All right, and Scally.
All right. Anything I'm doing will be on Twitter at Brian_Scally. Currently waiting on Love Island to come back very soon. Love Island USA is right around the corner. They announced kind of last minute. So that should be coming up and be a ton of fun. Also on the Hot Dummies on Islands feed. And then later on, the Challenge USA 2 will also be dropping. Talked about that in the form of a draft for who's on that cast. It may not be exactly who you expect. So that should be dropping soon as well over on the Dom and Colin feed. And yeah.
All right. Well, that is what we have for you tonight. Thank you all so much for joining us. Make sure you vote in the poll, and we will see all of you next time.